I have a confession to make. I'm not perfect. My mother thought I was perfect and spent a great deal of time telling others that I was perfect. I did not, however, exist under the maxim that my mother, since she was my mother, was always right. And I have not been perfect as a teacher, nor am I perfect now. I've made mistakes, as you will. The challenge is to make progress without being perfect. Welcome to Teaching, Singing, Observation, and Practice. I'm Hal Thomas, and in this chapter, I'm going to share some thoughts with you about how I got here and how to treat your students. I'm pretty good at it, but, sorry Mom, not perfect. I make mistakes and keep trying to learn from them. At this point, the vocal pedagogy students are writhing in their chairs, screaming, "No, no, not the old try to learn from your mistakes bit." Yep, it's the old try to learn from your mistakes bit, partner.
Yeehaw!
I'm going to discuss a few of my teaching philosophies and the ways I try to employ them in the studio. Now the vocal ped kids are screaming and running from the classroom. Remember, I didn't start out with my complete experience transmitted through injection of RNA. The methods and attitudes I'll be discussing developed over long experience. They become pretty effective with students, and I try to keep improving them. One-on-one teaching is a constant learn-while-you-earn vocation for me, and it should be for you as well. If you're not prepared to learn from your students and from and about yourself, you should stop watching now. First, and this is probably something I should not have to say, ever notice whenever you hear that sentence, the person saying it goes right on anyway? So here it is. There is no place in your studio for prejudice. Racial, sexual, social, any kind of bigotry is useless and wrong. Who should you accept as a student? I've met some teachers who audition their students, literally. "I'll hear you sing and decide if you're good enough to study with me." Guess what? I always feel the new student is auditioning me. You should accept anyone who expresses an interest in improving their singing, or a student whose parent would like their child to take lessons. Those students who don't find it to their liking will realize it, and will find a way to tell you. You may even sense it yourself and bring it up for discussion. Anyway, those who are more interested in other pursuits won't be with you very long, but you must still do your absolute best for all of them while they're in your charge. This will result, as you might expect, with a lesson schedule filled with students of varying talent, ability, and natural gift. You'll learn from all of them and help all of them grow and improve. I've found I've learned more about teaching technique and musicianship to a student who does not seem immediately destined for the operatic or Broadway stage as I have teaching megatalents. You must appreciate their differences, but the general goal is the same for all of them: better musicianship and better singing. I try to treat students like pros. Granted, professionals at different levels of experience, acumen, and ability, but I've found that students respond well to this friendly yet workmanlike studio atmosphere. For both students and me, it creates a work is serious fun attitude without sacrificing standards and goals. Now, something else that doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it. You will have no favorite students, or more realistically, your favorite student will be the one you're working with at the moment. Of course, in the Let's Get Real area, you're a human being, and you will notice that some of your students stand out from others in gift, talent, dedication, or personal industry. Whoopee. Your favorite student is the one you're working with. You do not compare one student with another, except favorably. You do not point out a limitation that another student may have to the student standing in front of you. You may comment on areas of concern that are shared by other students, as in, "You're not alone. Janet Mankiewicz is working on that too." And you do not gossip with or about any student, during or outside the lesson time. Returning now to my lack of perfection. I secretly suspect, sorry.
Okay.
Returning now to my, okay. Wait a minute. What was I talking about? My lack of perfection? Returning now to my lack of perfection. I secretly suspect that my mother did not actually, no matter how publicly she shared her opinion of that paragon of a perfect son with family, friends, and her women's church group, knew that I was indeed not. So, aided and abetted by my dad, who knew talent when he heard it, she found me when I was in 6th grade the best trumpet teacher she could, and the best piano teacher when I was in high school that she possibly could. Little did I realize that my training as a teacher would begin with those two gentlemen, Anthony Petricola for the trumpet and Leighton Tifo for the piano, both professional musicians who'd come to full-time teaching later in their careers. They gave me a classical foundation that has helped me all my life. In college and graduate school, I was fortunate enough to have Dr. Leslie Bennett for voice and private piano from Dr. Ronald Riegel, both excellent musicians and teachers who were the perfect fit for me. They nurtured my technical and musical growth amazingly and unselfishly. Not a day of my teaching goes by when I don't think of them or employ something I learned in their studios. You know how so many people don't realize how good they've got it while they're getting it? I did realize how good I had it and paid attention. If any of you have extraordinary teachers, please do the same. Later in my professional career, I benefited from excellent coaches at Santa Fe Opera and Western Opera Theater. During my work at Cincinnati Opera, I was coached and trained by Enrico Venanzi, Lorenzo Malfatti, and Italo Taio. There I go name-dropping again. If anyone watching had the privilege of working with one of these gentlemen, then you know just how lucky I was. I also owe a huge debt to a lady named Susan Curry. She was the director of HMS Pinafore at Cornell University in the later 60s. It was my first role in a theatrical music production of any kind, ever. Susan taught me stagecraft, because mine was more like stage crash. She made me her special project. I can hear her now saying, "Hal, you sing the role of the captain very well, and your instinct for lines is excellent. But you're a total disastrous klutz on stage and have no idea at all how to comport yourself there." Thus encouraged, I was to show up an hour before rehearsal call every day. During that hour, she introduced me to and schooled and drilled me in basic stagecraft. A year's worth of how not to look like an idiot on stage crammed into 6 weeks. Movement, style, direction, intent, character projection. These were theatrical gifts that helped me my whole career. For any ease I have before an audience, I owe Mrs. Curry a debt I can never repay. Where am I going with the personal history? I and my teaching are the sum of my work, yes, but I'm also the sum of contributions from those who helped me develop it, and you will be as well. Often my students will thank me for helping them learn a role or do well in a festival, and I say you're welcome, but you really should thank my teachers. That's all for now. In the following episodes, you'll be seeing more of my students at work, but I will reserve the right to have an occasional rage, rant, and pontificate chapter like this one. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been useful for you and given you cause for thought. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.